Hello, Flat Earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Nick Davis here from Phuket. Just trying a stream from a new restaurant we're setting up here near Bang Tao Beach on the kind of northish west coast of Phuket. Hopefully in time to catch some good business ahead of the high season. Chilster, hello. All right. It's the first day of the Chinese vegetarian festival today. Oh. Huh? Oh, hang on a second, just doing some minor repairs. A minute. Just a sec. Getting the lights going properly. Hang on, bear with me. Got this net of lights, which is quite nice. Nice as a background. I'll give you a little show around. I don't know if you can see it, but basically we are in the process of renovating a small roadside restaurant and relaunching our Nick's Chippy business. It's a quiet little road, but it's near the beach, so there's lots of foot traffic. Right now it's still the rainy season, but we've got we've got a good customer base of expats, local expats, foreigners, Brits or whatever, and giving it another go. So this place was abandoned for a long time. I think, well, at least since the Rona scamdemic, and because of Phuket's lack of, basically Thailand wasn't letting anyone in for that period, so tourism took a nosedive, and so this is some land with this kind of shack, and it was really in pretty bad shape, but we've been working solid. Kids have been helping out, and now we'll just take you inside. Show you this way around. Here's our little kitchen. So this is a mess, but we painted it up and spent some money on stuff. A new fridge being one of the major expenses. But having done this before from a much more expensive place, the rent was much more agreeable because there was so much work to be done on it. But it was a restaurant before, so this kitchen area was here. We've got this little doorway here. We've got a bar out there, and these tables and chairs. I'm not into the flashing lights, but these lights. So I had to have some light over here. Just been, stuff like this. This is a big dip here, and there was this very ugly sink. So kind of put these floorboards up. What's happened basically is over the rainy season, the ground is basically, this is typical brilliant Thai workmanship. I think someone just slapped this concrete, no rebars or anything, they just slapped it on top of the dirt. So what's happened now is you've got this kind of cavity, a gap under there where the earth has just kind of washed away. So, if things go well, we'll fix that at a later date. But for now, it's okay. But I had to add this to do it. Got some vintage lighting and stuff, and so we're rocking and rolling basically. I mean, it's been a bit of a slog, but that's why I haven't been doing so much content, because we've just been focused on getting this sorted out. Still very quiet because we literally just finished and really opened the kitchen up yesterday, but haven't done any kind of grand launch or anything like that, just a few posts on Facebook and stuff. Thank you, Chilster. Yeah. Jess, hello. All right. Nice one. Yeah. Hope you're all doing well. I think it's Saturday, isn't it? Yeah, hope you've had a good week. And sorry, before this I was explaining that the vegetarian festival is going off down the road. So the Chinese community in Phuket, you might have heard of it before. They do all the piercings, especially through their cheeks and stuff. And it's this time of year, every October, they have this it's about a week of these processions. And basically, they go veg, they go vegetarian for this period, maybe about 10 days in total. And they wear white. And, some of them apparently get possessed by these spirits. They become spirit mediums, and then they go on these parades around the streets with the, putting all sorts of piercings through, whether it could be spears, knives, bicycle cranks, whatever. It gets weirder and weirder. So if you hear some bangs and stuff, firecrackers going off in the background, that's what that is. But it's quite an interesting event to go to, but I'm not going to go and I don't think there's not much going on at the moment, but as it's the first day, they have this kind of mast raising thing, and they do things like walking on hot coals and climbing up ladders of swords and things like that. If I got a chance to take some photos, I will. I've done it before, but yeah, after a while it just gets a bit same old. And it's what's the word? It's not necessarily impressive. I mean, the walking up the swords is pretty impressive, I must admit. And that's what's going on in Phuket right now, ahead of the high season, which should be starting. It's the rainy season right now, so that's starting to clear up, but we still get these torrential downpours. And the tourists should start flooding in, or are expected to start flooding in November, December. And hopefully, if there are no hiccups, then should be a good year. So that's why we thought, okay, let's take some savings and try and relaunch the chippy. It's something that Phuket doesn't really have. We've been doing it for on and off for 7 years. No, not that long. Maybe five years. And it started. We started delivering, but that just becomes very expensive. And then the restaurant we did were operating before, not far from here, just didn't work out. The rent was far too high. So lessons learned from that for sure. So we're giving it another go. And had a customer last night. He was very chuffed. He said he hadn't had fish and chips for 5 years. So yeah. As far as the whole flat earth thing goes, and the truth movement, it's interesting what you can see happening. It can get stale sometimes, because a lot of the time people just want to argue because they want to be right, or they want to prove a point. And I listen to a lot of these conversations on Discord. 24/7 Flat Earth is a good Discord server to listen to. They have a live stream on YouTube as well. And you hear some good stuff there, but ultimately, when some very well-versed people, some very intelligent people, doing what they're doing for a good cause, like all of us trying to kind of talk about the truth, when it's a difficult thing to trying to live a truthful life is a kind of full-time thing. It's a lifestyle, right? Because you're constantly trying to I suppose, analyze what's going on in your mind. And it's still always surprising how if someone's never thought about it. I mean, this is the thing, a lot of us don't even get to the point where we think about these contradictions. The typical contradiction you might get of someone saying, oh, we see ships going over a curve or down a curve, but then in the next breath they'll say we can't see curvature until you get really high. Or, thinking that the Earth rotates under a Foucault's pendulum. But then, if that's the case, then the Earth should rotate under anything that's freely moving above the Earth. These very stark contradictions from the theory compared to reality are enough to make anyone think. And a lot of, when you are open-minded, you get it straight away. There's no question. I remember understanding it immediately, especially when we're talking about horizons. But you have to go through that process, but of then testing it and checking for yourself, and that's all you're asking anyone to do, isn't it? And a lot of people just won't. They'll just defend the belief, and with nothing but religious kind of zeal. Of course, you can get kind of religious-like, and flat Earth can become cult-like in its way. But essentially, and you've got people sometimes trying to impress their idea of what flat Earth is. But logically speaking, just from our experiences, that we are in an intelligently designed creation environment, and we're very limited in what we can know about it, but we're also able to experience some amazing things that work on a level that is way beyond the kind of just general physics. And you can understand, of course, the awe that we all have about, where we are and who we are and how we got to be here is often misdirected into the whole space thing, evolution, spinning planets. And so often with a lot of the things that we see happening, the regular news, as you start to awaken, I suppose, to some of this, and that, whether it's the financial system, the politics, it's funny because you see how people, no matter what their position or their wealth or whatever, they're operating usually solely for themselves. The people that are doing things for others are kind of often sidelined, rarely recognized for what they do. It's only those that really push for their own self-preservation and success that can end up being heard, and for the wrong reason. Hello, the Uber, what's that? The Uber cut, hello. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So at some point you've got to just kind of get on with life, right? It's and I think we've all kind of learned along the way that it's those personal interactions that really make a difference. Hang on, what's that? Oh, I've got a message. Doesn't matter. It's not about work. It's those personal interactions that really matter. And it doesn't matter what you believe. It's those experiences you have, those interactions with people on a one-on-one basis that can really, they're the lessons in life, right? Those are the things that we maybe carry over or become our karma, and of course we've all got our own truths, but the real truth is that we don't know where we are, we don't know who we are, and it's all open to interpretation. And ultimately, you might worry about, or you might be kind of consumed even by finding out how it all works. And to be honest, that's no different to the physicists, or the theoretical physicists, I should say, that are creating mathematical equations and trying to explain things. It's funny just listening. Someone might come up with an argument about the theory of relativity, and it's like, well, that's not an argument. It doesn't prove anything. All it does is make excuses for the idea, the notion that we're moving and spinning, but it doesn't appear that we're doing that. So the default is that we're on this stationary Earth, and I get the arguments for the Earth being moving and acceleration, but I don't necessarily jive with that, just like I never really jived with a spinning Earth idea. When you look at the size of this Earth, I think it's easy to get carried away in a very kind of compartmentalized tunnel of thinking, maybe even some tunnel vision there. Yes, you can demonstrate acceleration, for example, and say, yeah, we can create the same effect as we see with layers of density, but we are still far from understanding how any of this really works or how it was created. That's all. It's impossible. So there has to become, I think personally, there is a, I remember kind of thinking about the moon and trying to, you could literally go mad trying to work out what the moon is and how it works. How would we know? We just haven't a clue, So it's like, okay, there's a possibility that you can say, all right, yeah, okay, that might work. But to be single-minded about it, I think, is probably detrimental, and it can end up being frustrating. It's like going along, taking a journey in a train or a car or something. The journey, life's journey, and the experiences we have along the way is so much more important than working out how it all works. What difference does it make, really? All you got to know is that people have impressed upon us certain ideas based on mathematical models and concepts and presuppositions of heliocentrism and what have you. And then they've made up rules and laws of gravity and masses and general relativity or even special relativity, and off they go. And there are people that are paid to just think about ways to make mathematical equations that would fit with the narrative about the kind of physics that is supposed to have happened at the Big Bang. It's just but no matter what you might be doing in life, or what mission you think you're on, there's going to be things that happen to you along the way, and it's like being in a train, like going along, and you're maybe observing the scenery, or you're meeting other people, and you're getting into making connections with other people, or having a fight, having a relationship, whatever it might be. And those are the experiences that really matter. So while you might be doing something, you might be focused on getting something done in your mind, okay, I've got to get this, I've got to achieve this. That might well just be a driving force for something that creates a situation that you weren't expecting or you weren't planning on having, but gives you the thing that you really need. Yeah, there's a big difference between what we need and what we want, right? And what's amazing is that letting go is probably the way things really work, because you can, it's, for example, like being on a boat and letting the current carry you, right? I mean, if you're fighting against the current, then it's just going to be a struggle, and you might be able to hold off on your destiny, going over the waterfall or ending up somewhere downriver, but ultimately you're going to have to get carried along by the river. And I think that the letting go and allowing life to happen is a lot more revealing and a lot more progressive, maybe, than being hyper focused. Yeah. Let me just try and read the comments there. Can't wait, LA. Good times. Hello. All right. Okay. Hang on. Whoa. There's quite a lot of chat going on there. Thanks, Execrate. Jess Palmer, Chilster, Dr. La, hello, Sawadi Crab, it's been a while. Yes, thank you. Alright. The Ubercaster. Nick, this is Travis. Oh, right, okay. Alright, I see Travis. Hi. Alright, so you've got a different thing now. Okay. Okay. Good times. Good to see you, Zach. Nice one. Okay. So, lovely to catch. It's really nice to catch up. Okay. Yeah. I hope the Oktoberfest is going well. Or, to be honest, I'm not sure if it started or not. But okay. What's that, Dr. La? I haven't played a video game since the late 80s. I conquered one game and that was it. I quit while I was on top. Yeah. I used to love video games too. It was amazing, wasn't it? Amazing growing up in the 80s, 70s, 80s. Man, yeah, when, and you could tell even, I remember thinking about it even then, you're playing some kind of very simple game like Donkey Kong or whatever. And you knew that obviously over time these things would advance. And it would become this kind of virtual reality. I mean, that was obviously always going to happen. And I see my kids kind of obviously engrossed in their technology, the mobile tech and things like that. And what can you do? You can't really ban them from it. I mean, to be honest, they're learning a lot. They learn a lot more language apart from the F-bombs and stuff that seem to be even prevalent on videos aimed at kids these days. And I do tell them to kind of stay away from some of that, but it's a much wider world for kids growing up these days. But as usual, it can you can get distracted, can't you? You can end up with that tunnel vision going off, and we're all prone to it, right? We're all prone to getting into some kind of cultish type thing, and ultimately. What can you do to really change the world when you see what does go on in the world? Again, there has to be a point where you accept that certain people are going to be a certain way, and they're never going to change. If you're on a path of change, and if you're a different person to the one you were 10 years ago or 6 months ago, then that's a good thing, right? You're progressing. You are evolving. Maybe your soul is doing its thing. And to be honest, that's the thing. That's the wonderful thing about serving food is it's always really nice to create that. When you serve someone food, you create that connection with someone. They're ingesting something that you've created, and it's lovely. It's such a what's the word? A basic, fundamental aspect. Feeding. We all get hungry. We all need sustenance, and if you can provide that to someone and they enjoy it, and you watch them eat your food and they feel satisfied and they got a smile on their face, it's lovely. It's really, really nice to be able to do that. If I could do it for free, I would. But you've got to make a business of it, which is tough. it's been tough. But you know, there's nothing like being your own independent, even if it's really rough. You know, we've with the chippy, we've struggled, and we've, like I said, you know, it's been on and off, and we've been through some really hellish times. And you know, when we first did a restaurant back in 20, whatever it was, 16. You know, my youngest daughter was just, you know, she was just learning to walk, and we tried it, and we moved into this like a, what do you call it, like a not a townhouse, a shop house. You know, if you can imagine those kind of the Chinese colonial way of doing it, where they have a shop house and live above it. You know, so they have whatever business they're doing, they run it on the ground floor and then live above it. That's very common here. So we tried that approach, but the rent was just, well, basically it's about a quarter of the rent we were paying when we first started doing our fish and chips. So we started delivering, and then that was going well. We had to move, so we moved into this shop house, but the rent was just too high, and you know, we just weren't selling enough. So hit some hard times there, and then the whole Corona thing came along. So yeah, hopefully this time it works. Yeah, and I just feel it feels more like a kind of, you know, rather than trying to do something impossible, it's like, you know, there's a lot's happened. A lot of water has gone under the bridge in those last few years. A lot of experiences that you can take on board, but also, like I said, it's just the letting go. The letting go allows things to happen. It's been very, you know, it's been, you know when you know you're on the right path. You know, you just kind of feel it. You don't feel stressed. You don't feel worried that you've done the wrong thing. It's just that, but you're not also at the same time. You're not in a rush. You know that things will happen in a natural order, and it's a really nice position to be in. I think that's you know, and so whatever kind of truth avenue you follow, this is all of this is about you know, analyzing ourselves and the universe without and within. And so again, you know, when it comes to this whole kind of exploration of the plane and trying to ascertain the physical properties, there's magic going on. There is stuff beyond any kind of technology that we really know, and maybe it's not something that you can define in terms of technology. Yeah. So it's a crazy experience, isn't it? Okay, just catch up with the chat again now. What's that, Dr. Da? I have Phuket families. Oh man, my glasses. No video games. Okay, video games again. Sorry, it's really difficult to read the chat. It's kind of like white writing on this very kind of bright background as well. What's that? Good times? Just found out about gravitational anomaly, that is bending water in the Indian Ocean. Crazy stuff if it's true. Yeah, Zach, I was listening to you on the Iron Realm. It's funny because you've obviously got all these articles you've been through, and you're kind of like, you know, trying to process all this information. And let me just take this off. I look like a flipping door-to-door Mormon. It's just my little my man bag. All right, I've given up kind of putting wallets and keys in pockets. I keep them in my man bag, all in one place. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it would be. I think I've said it before. You know, it would be absolutely to have proof that we live on a globe. But that's the thing. You know, once you start asking the questions, then you don't get the straight answers. And of course, we can see from the experiments and analysis that it's level. Yeah, it's the same as what was it? Gary Lineker was on a video the other day, the well-known English footballer. And of course, he came out with a tweet just questioning the official narrative when it was, you know, during the whole scandemic, and he was, you know, attacked viciously by officialdom and by trolls and by the government and by whatever. But that's the thing, isn't it? It's just like 1984. You've got people defending the party, defending the state for their own just for their own self-preservation, not for any just cause or defending the truth. I mean, the truth should be totally open to question. If you can't question it, then there you are. And it is interesting to see, for example, what's going on in Israel at the moment. At least there are mixed reactions here. A lot more people seem to be kind of, they're not siding with one or the other like they necessarily did or do with the Ukraine. We all know that these things will be used as a way to do stuff. You have, what's that? Good times. You have a billboard with Phuket word on it. Oh, thank you. Good times on the Fat Earth map. Oh, okay. Nice one. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's cool. Yeah, and that's what's really nice about, it's always really good to touch base with everyone and just, it's a shame to be out of touch for a while, but just wanted to pop in and say, explain why, basically, because of this place that we're putting together. Obviously, it's very quiet at the moment. I'm not dealing with any customers. Well, not really expecting to, because I haven't really kind of officially launched. So, yeah. But what's that? Good times. The water bending was wrong. The wrong way, though. Just a certain area, and just supposedly noticeable. Oh, all right. Oh, thank you, MS. All right. All right. Yeah, sorry, it's really difficult to read the chat. So, I'll hopefully have a look at it later. But isn't this whole thing all about finding yourself? Isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? It's we are born into this crazy world, and whatever culture or country you're born into, you're going to go on a journey of self-discovery, and it's such a shame when a lot of opportunities to grow spiritually are often not used. And I think, distractions are obviously, it's very difficult to be alone with your own thoughts, right? So, whether it's the internet or the TV or something, video games, they're all distractions because they keep the mind occupied. And the moment the mind isn't occupied, it can become very frightening. Then you start thinking about some of the things you did or said in the past. And of course, dealing with those, accepting them, and allowing those thoughts and all the emotions that come with it to be processed is very important, because putting things off doesn't do anything. And I wonder if that's the main cause of disease a lot of the time. We got a lot of stress because of it's interesting, isn't it? Because you might be thinking about something, or if you believe in something or thinking about let's say you're worrying about something that might or might not happen to you in the near future, right? And you feel threatened, or you feel scared, or you feel nervous or anxious. Your body and your mind don't really know the difference between that imaginary situation that you're thinking and a real situation. In fact, often in the real situation, we can have the capability or the capacity to deal with it as it arises. But often when we're just kind of thinking about situations, you just go off on this tangent of worry and stress, as if it's real. So of course we're constantly being bombarded, aren't we, by these things that we're supposed to think about, or things we're supposed to believe, or the way we're supposed to do, or being politically correct, or anything. And that doesn't mean to just not care. You can care, and of course, taking the time to think about all these things that we do and think in life and say is important. But I suppose what's important is to let those things happen, let those emotions come about. And that's really what meditation is, isn't it? It's not necessarily thinking of nothing. Yes, you can eventually get to that state, and it's actually very difficult to get to that point where you are totally conscious and unaffected by any other thoughts. And so I suppose with these early stages of meditation, you're going to have thoughts, and rather than it's not a case of blocking and saying, no, I'm not going to think about it. It's like, okay, let the thought come. Let's recognize the emotions that it produces and let it out. I mean, you have to do that. You have to let it out and process it, and then you can be free of it. But if you're trying to suppress certain things, then you're not free, because you're keeping something inside, bottled up. So hello. What's that? Malky. Oh, man, that's so sorry. I can't. I'm really difficult to read the things. But hello. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So. I don't have much more to say. That's been my little rant. Best to keep it short and sweet, huh? And it's good to see you all. And let's hopefully catch up soon. And let's give you one little. If you didn't see it earlier on, I'll just give you a little view of the restaurant. Okay, because we're looking at the sign's probably the wrong way around. It says fish and chips and Islam food. So this was a total state. It was just all tumbled down and everything. But there's still a lot more work to do. There's an old sign up there which I need to replace and rewire and all sorts. I had to do. But it's fun. It's all for a good cause. Yeah. So feeding people is fun, because it's one of those basic things. So I shall love you and leave you there, and wish you all a good night from Phuket, and we'll catch up very soon. Yeah. Okay. Take care.